Hello.
Hi.
Hello. And welcome to Meet at the Hotel Bar. We are JC,
Freddie,
and Huss from the band Flaws, a three-piece indie pop band from London via Huddersfield.
So since we started touring with Flaws, travelling the world, and during our previous lives as session musicians, we realised that there are so many funny things that happen on and off stage, and so many stories that never get shared with the rest of the world. They just stay in the dressing rooms and tour buses of the bands and artists you love.
Until now. In this podcast, we are lifting the lid on life on the road, and we're better to meet up and tell those touring tales than a place every touring musician knows very well, the trusty hotel bar.
So why the hotel bar, and what makes it trusty?
Well, it's very reliable because it's a bar, it's always got beer there, but it's the epicenter for conversation. It's the hub.
Yeah.
So when you're on the road, it's the one place you all meet up, and it's a great place for storytelling.
Today we sat down to chat with the amazing Ella Eyre in a hotel bar in London. Ella has won Brit Awards, Mobo Awards, toured the world over, had a #1 single, and has one of the best and most instantly recognisable vocals out there.
Now, as you'll find out with all these stories and tour shenanigans, JC and Ella go way back, even before the nickname JC was born. So as a heads up, when Ella says Josh, she's referring to JC.
Yeah, it was a mad trip down memory lane for me for this one. A bunch of things that I'd completely forgotten about altogether as we relived a bunch of tour nightmares. And Huss's pistol whip story had me crying with laughter too.
Yeah, Ella played such a big part in the Flaws story. She gave us our first support tour, which kick-started the band.
This is Ella Eyre coming up on Meet at the Hotel Bar. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're rolling.
We need to start by ordering a drink.
Yeah. So
Whatever you order, we get the same.
Oh no!
Yeah. So
Great. Shot of tequila. Whiskey sours.
Yeah, we could do whiskey sours.
Well, I'm having a whiskey sour then.
are you serious on the whiskey sours?
Absolutely not. No way. We've got a gig today. Can't drink on a gig day.
Okay. So yeah, what would you like to drink?
Well, I sort of brought my own drink,
So we can share that
more
one.
of those.
which is a beetroot juice, but I won't let you guys have that. A black Americano, please.
Okay, black Americano.
Perfect.
We'll
That's a
take
good choice.
4 of
Is
those,
it?
please.
Can we make one of those decaf, please?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Are
much.
you
Thank you.
decaf now?
Yeah, I'm decaf, fully
my
decaf,
word.
living a decaf
So
life.
rock and roll, right?
So rock and roll.
Before we get going as well, I'd also like to apologise. It's the earliest podcast that we've ever done. It's currently 10:30. We're in the hotel bar, but the breakfast has finished. The breakfast finished at 10, and the bar doesn't technically open until 12.
Yeah.
So they've let us in. They've been really kind to let us in, but they are vacuuming.
Well, we've got an extra
Around
special
from us.
guest today. We've got Henry the Hoover.
Yeah.
Henry's
Is that
just
Henry?
followed-
Is
yeah,
Henry
yes.
red?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think
Oh, I've
that's
got
Henry.
George. That's why.
Oh, really? Are they
Yeah.
different ones?
Who's George?
What
I've
colour's
got George. He's
George?
green. He's epic.
So, for those that don't know, I used to be Ella's keyboard player. And over the course of 3.5 years, this is really crazy how long ago it was, between 2013 and 2016.
We had some crazy tour managers. I'm joking.
Crazy.
Continue on.
No. I actually counted up the amount of shows that I played the other day.
Really?
Yeah. How many do you reckon it is? Actually,
I mean, we were doing a lot at that time.
I feel like I've miscalculated because I didn't include any corporate shows. I didn't do any radio shows or any TV or promo or anything like that. It's purely gigs in front of a crowd.
Yeah. I mean, there are 365 days in the year, right? And I
Yeah.
say we were doing at least 200 a year, maybe.
A little bit less.
No, but including all the live
but
lounges
actually,
and stuff, and
Okay,
corporates and stuff that you won't have included. But I'd say in terms of gigs, official gigs, maybe 150.
Okay, so it's 200.
Yeah.
Just under 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, actual full shows.
Yeah.
And in 19 different countries as well.
Wow,
How cool is that? Literally,
That is very
I counted them
cool.
up, 19 different countries.
I feel like you should have worked out how many cities. That would have been more impressive.
Yeah, cities would have been good. We can edit that in. We'll edit that in
More
after.
impressive stuff.
Do that in post.
So that brings
Yeah.
me nicely into the very first question. What is your favourite city in the world to gig in?
Manchester.
Manchester.
Without fail. Like, it doesn't take me any time to think about that, just because every time I've been, I've always been excited and I've never been disappointed,
Manchester
even
is
if it's a
pretty
corporate show.
Yeah.
They just bring another level. Also, Scotland are really great as well. I think because they're deprived up there. So, sorry, I shouldn't say that.
we can edit that
It's a
out.
long-
We can edit anything out.
Let's edit
We'll
that
give you
out.
one chance to
They're
redeem.
deprived
Yeah,
of
yeah,
good
yeah,
weather.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you meant, right? They're
No.
deprived of sun.
But I just feel like with Scotland, like, I don't know how many gigs happen up. No, I'm going to stop. I'm digging myself a hole. But I just feel like the further
Manchester.
north,
Manchester.
the further north you go, the more like crazy.
Deprived they are.
I don't know. I'm just going to stop digging myself a hole on that one. But
Manchester, though, I stand by that.
Yeah, Manchester is sick.
Manchester is a
Yeah.
great city.
always great restaurants as well. Like, my memory of a place is how well I eat food as well. So
Yeah.
Manchester.
Isn't there like a really good Chinese place
Yeah.
in Manchester, like near the Academy? I feel like we've been there before many times, probably with
Oh, I
both.
don't remember that one.
Yeah, I feel like we've been there until,
Probably. Do you know
Yeah,
what?
it is
though?
opposite Academy and to the right.
yeah, close
I feel
by.
like the days just flow into one when you're on tour. So, like, you could tell me and I'll probably believe you.
That's the thing. I'm going to be really interested with this podcast as to how many stories you remember.
No.
I'm going to be like, do you remember when we did this? And you'll be like, huh?
No, the amount of times that I remember Mafro would be like, oh, we played this venue before. And I'll be like, have we? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I really don't remember.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, my memory's actually getting terrible as well.
Your
like-
memory's always been brilliant, though.
Yeah, I
remember
feel like
that.
it used to be really great.
Yeah.
And then it's slowly deteriorated.
No, I think you
Over
do
time.
have a good memory, but your sense of direction is absolutely
The
terrible.
sense of
I
direction
can
is
vouch
terrible.
for that. That's true. And so, sticking with the theme of gigs,
Yep.
have you got like a most memorable memory whilst being on stage?
Oh.
Testing the memory here.
There's so many ways I could take this. I could take it emotional, I could take it deep, or I could take it like sort of euphoric. I'd say like I'm gonna keep it upbeat. 'Cause
Yeah, let's go euphoric.
let's go upbeat. I'm gonna say when I played Glastonbury for the first time, because I went to school in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna say graduate, but I didn't graduate. When I finished, when I left, got unofficially expelled.
Did you get expelled?
Unofficially, because it was the last day.
Oh, shit.
But they were like, if you were coming back, we would have expelled you. And I was like, oof, one for the books. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm going to say that because I went to school there. When you finish your GCSEs, like the thing to do, the tradition is to go to Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And so I went, had the best time ever, loved it. And then 4 years later, I was on one of the stage. I think I was on the other stage.
Yeah, the other stage.
Yeah. And I feel like did we do it twice?
Neither of them can remember.
Yeah. No, we did do it twice. The one time was in a tent, and the second time was the other stage.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I think the moment I'm talking about is the other stage,
Yeah,
and that
the
was
other
4
stage.
years after I left that school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was.
I remember it being really sunny that day, and I
Yeah.
remember the sun was beaming down on my keyboard, and like one of the keyboards I use, I couldn't see like the display, and I was like freaking out as to like whether it was the correct one. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah. It was
These
good.
are the things that you worry about.
know, yeah, I feel
And
like
I'm
this-
thinking everything's going well.
Yeah. Do you remember that show in Poland? Do you remember the one with the boxers?
Yes.
And it was like
yeah,
like
I think that was
fully-
the biggest production show I've ever had. It was for like a cider. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
just like a corporate, but they just like went to, I think it looked like they spent like 200 grand on the stage. It was crazy. We were on like scaffolding,
levels,
weren't we?
yeah.
And every band member was in a different box. And then like I
With no
appeared in one of the...
safety whatsoever.
safety. And that was the one
Like-
time when the mic was left live and in the encore was shouting down the mic, get back on stage! And it was like, shut up!
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, just the drop, like the sheer drop. And I remember like Dave Baker getting like, so Dave Baker was I feel like we're naming names here. So Dave Baker was the bassist, Mafro was the guitarist.
Who's still my bass player, by the way. OG,
literally
the last one.
The longest serving.
Longest, yeah. And then Ellie's, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, did you know, fun fact, Dave Baker is the reason Flaws are Flaws.
Really?
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know that.
Dave Baker introduced me to Freddie.
Yeah, that's how I know
Yeah.
these guys.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me
Shout
at
out Dave.
all.
So thanks,
Yeah,
Dave.
Dave was in my rock band I used to play in.
Shout out the band.
What were the band called?
The Dead Famous.
Oh, that's quite a cool name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like you braced yourself for us to be like,
Yeah, I
oh,
was expecting a worse reaction.
Haven't you got a tattoo about the Dead Famous?
No, but me and Dave have matching tattoos.
Oh
on our
no, which
ankle.
one? The cabbage?
And apparently you guys, yeah. Is that what you guys call it? The cabbage?
No, it wasn't because the cabbage,
the cabbage
I think
was on his
Get
on
the
his-
ankle
on
out,
his,
Fred.
like, here we go. Just for the
Oh, yeah, okay, no,
listeners.
it's
It does
not
look
that
a bit
one.
like a cabbage, though.
How dare you?
No,
cauliflower.
you should see the cabbage.
He's got
It's a
cabbage on.
cabbage.
Didn't he edit it though? He did
I think
edit
he got
it.
like
Edit the
a
cabbage.
skull over it in the end.
Yeah.
He should be here. He needs to defend himself.
We should
We'll
absolutely
do a follow-up podcast on Dave's tattoos.
We could
But
just-
also, he does have amazing tattoos, so it's
Yeah.
okay
Yeah,
that
yeah,
he
no,
has the
does,
odd
yeah.
cabbage.
He just,
Yeah.
to be fair.
So the beauty of live gigs is that not everything always goes according to plan.
Oh, is it beautiful?
It is.
What
Beautiful.
is
At least you have each other on stage. When it's me, I'm like, make jokes. I don't know how to riff.
so? What is the worst thing that's ever happened to you on stage?
Oh, to be fair, touch wood, because I don't want to ruin the rest of my live career. I've been very fortunate that I don't have any like standout awful moments. I'd say the one that I remember, I think, was in the Czech Republic, but it was raining so hard. And there was a thunderstorm the night before, and they were like, we don't know if the gig's going to happen or not, but we did it anyway. But then the generator packed up because of the weather. I was on stage giving my all, and everyone was getting nothing. So
Oh, what, out front?
out
There was
front.
no sound
like
out
the
front.
generator, everything went, the lights, the sound, everything, and it was like, well, the gig's over, but like we're still giving it.
You're still having a great time.
There's nothing worse than audience members going, we can't hear you, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, and again, this is probably something that you would never have like even being privy to. But I remember doing a show once at Ronnie Scott's. Do you remember doing a show at Ronnie Scott's?
So
the
embarrassing. No,
the jazz
I don't.
club,
No.
like the little
Did you
jazz
ever
club,
play Ronnie
famous.
Scott's? I thought I'd
Yeah.
just been there drunk.
It was like I feel like we played a gig in the afternoon, and then in the evening, it was like a late night thing
Yeah,
at
I
Ronnie
do remember,
Scott's. And there was a song that we used to play, and I remember going into rehearsals, and obviously, like you play these songs hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And we went into rehearsals, and I remember you saying, "Oh, can we change the key of this one?" So I was
As
like,
I'd
"Yeah,
like
sure."
to do all the time.
And there's a button on the keyboard that you basically press, and it's a really simple button. And because some keys are like, ugh,
Yeah.
like that's really difficult. So basically, what I did is I pressed like 2 or whatever it was in the thing, and jobs are good, and I can go. And I must have played 100 shows using this song with just +2, and I always used to do it a bit lazy, and I'm sorry. But I remember the Ronnie Scott show was like a grand piano. Obviously doesn't have a button to press the TV, and obviously
Thinking about for the button.
it
It's not
becomes
working.
so like bedded into like almost like just
Yeah.
muscle memory of being able to play the show. It was only when we were on stage, when we were about to play the song, we're like, oh, this next song is called like "Don't Worry Me" or whatever the song was, and I was like. Like absolute panic. Like
I
I
wish
have
that the listeners could see that
No.
facial expression.
no idea what even or where to start. I don't know how I managed to blag it, and no one noticed.
I feel like you're in the most judgmental place as far as musicians
Yeah.
go. Like,
absolute.
eyes are going to be on
I
you.
think Mafro noticed, but I don't think anyone else like. No, but it was like when like the world like swallows you up
Yeah.
inside of you, and you're in
That's
this like.
me with lyrics, because I'm notoriously bad with lyrics, and sometimes I'll be like, I know the intro just isn't that long, and I don't know what the first word is. Like the amount of languages I've made up on stage is astonishing.
Yeah, I feel like you cover it well though. You always covered it well.
You just have to be
Confident.
convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah, conviction is key.
loud, what's the saying? Not loud and proud. It's play it strong and wrong and strong.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
That's me.
Either one of those
Wrong
will
and
do.
strong.
I think that's it.
Wait, before you move on from disastrous gigs, do you remember the one where we? It wasn't disastrous because I didn't really realise what was going on, but the playback rig,
Yeah.
it came alive.
Yeah,
Wow.
we were. I think
was-
that was in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like an MTV. It was live on MTV. I think
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. And we were still doing a really basic setup, and we didn't have like that much crew / any.
No, I don't think.
And
Yeah.
poor Mafro was trying to play the guitar and like waft
Smoke.
playback.
The smoke was just coming on. Like, yeah, that was a horrible
I
moment.
didn't know till afterwards. I was like, "Great gig, guys!" And Mafro was laughing her
There,
hernia.
Did you get through the whole gig then? You didn't have to
Yeah,
stop?
I think it was like a short
I think we
30
may
minute.
have cut like a song or something,
Yeah.
but like,
It's like a warm fire at the back of the show.
my friend's aged about 5 years.
It is like I remember the tour manager calling my manager and be like, "We need to spend more money,
Yeah.
please. We can't do this again. It's a fire hazard."
Fires on stage, which again leads us nicely into the next question. Again, on this similar journey, we had our fair share of misfortune off stage onto a tour from drunk tour bus drivers.
Oh my word! I am cursed.
Yeah.
My tour, but like, it got to a point. There was a year where tour bus companies wouldn't do my gigs because they thought I was cursed.
There was so from what I can remember, maybe you can remember more. There was like a tour bus driver that like
He got drunk when we were doing the gig. We got there early, and it was one of those university shows where there were lots of rides. And so the people who were setting up the rides were living in caravans next to it. So then they'd obviously like been chilling outside, watching our bus driver drinking beers. And then I think he offered one of them one, and they were like, he's got to drive 14 people.
He was
going to
drive us home.
He was going to drive us home. Yeah.
So someone stopped him?
Yeah. One of the ride putter-uppers. Sorry, I don't know the official term. Operators.
Operators.
My tour manager at the time and was like, I think your driver was drunk.
Yeah.
And the tour bus company drove down and then picked him up and gave us a new driver, and then drove back but left him on the side of a motorway halfway back to London.
I didn't
No way.
I didn't know
That's what
that.
they
That's
did.
jokes. So yeah, we had that. We had
Wheel fall off
Wheel fall.
in
That's
Berlin.
literally the next one.
Yep.
The wheel fell off the bus. Like literally, like
Was this in that same
off the
12-month
bus?
period?
Yeah. Honestly, it was like 12 months where Josh hasn't even mentioned the worst one.
yeah, that's coming.
It's coming.
So the wheel came off, and then obviously the big one was being involved in a bus crash
The bus was written off.
in Ireland.
Yeah.
I feel like that conversation, I don't know about you, but I feel like it comes up like in conversation quite often.
Yeah.
And the boys, you've heard this story a million times, so I was intrigued as to what your memories were from that day in Ireland. So we'd literally just played Glastonbury.
We had just played Glastonbury and we were rushing to a gig in Ireland, and we'd just got off the ferry, and there was quite a lot of traffic, and then I remember the traffic suddenly easing up and we started moving, and then all of a sudden we came to a massive halt, and I think we were on a single carriageway. It's a road and there's only traffic going one way and then one the other, right? So there's not two lanes. There's a woman on the other side of the road who decided she didn't want to be in the traffic anymore and decided to try and do a 3-point turn. But she did a 3-point turn into our driver's route.
Shit.
But he obviously, like, it's a heavy bus. I think it had a trailer on the back. So, like, the brake time is just so much more than a car. So this silly woman really underestimated how long it would take for a bus to stop. So she pulled out and the bus went smack bang into her car. And Josh went flying from the back of the lounge in the bus to the front of the lounge. You were definitely the biggest casualty at the time.
Yeah.
And there was someone else as well, but I can't remember. I think Dave had like a crick neck or something.
Yeah, I think Nash had like a bit of a like crick neck, but
Yeah, there's Nash.
Yeah, the worst thing about it was, and I remember this, and this is something I'll never forget. It's just like some kind of like Final Destination shit. But we just stopped off at like a service station.
Yeah.
And me and Elise had bought like a muffin.
Yeah.
Which is quite rare for me. I would never really go for that.
I was going to say, I've never seen you buy... Is this why I don't see you buy muffins anymore?
Yeah, probably.
Never again as well.
So anyway, we bought this big muffin to share, and we were on a different bus to normal. And I remember going downstairs and then trying to find a knife, and I couldn't find a knife.
Yeah.
And there was like those, like the big like kitchen knives, like the huge ones, in like the pulse. So I pulled it out and then brought it upstairs, and then I cut the cupcake in two. And then Elise had hers and I had mine, and I placed the knife on the side, and then obviously everything happened. And then we went to like a time meal or something in the evening, and then Mafro saying, "Oh yeah, you do know? Do you remember you had that knife?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like where you landed, the knife was like laid by your head.
Oh my God.
And Mafro just got like he said he just got his foot and he just kind of like shimmered it underneath the sofa so no one saw it.
Oh my God.
Oh,
But like, can you
my
imagine
God.
what that knife was doing whilst we were all getting crushed and
See,
whatever?
that's why
Like,
I always opt for the tear and share when sharing a muffin.
Yeah.
Don't get
The
the knife
knife
involved.
is so unnecessary.
Absolutely.
We're so well acquainted by that point. You can use your hands.
I mean, absolutely. This is before like COVID, way before COVID times. So I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe just wanted
You're
a
ahead of
clean,
the
fair.
You're just doing the
cut.
gentlemanly thing.
Yeah.
It's very sweet, but totally unnecessary.
And your
Yeah.
laptop didn't
Oh,
fare
my
too
laptop.
well either.
Fucked. Yeah.
That headphone input was
Yeah.
broken for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was mental. Like, I laugh. I mean, I shouldn't laugh at all, really. It's just I laugh because I've been in so many bus-related incidences. But it was really serious and it was really scary. And it's like that from then on, it's sort of like he's given me this fear about sleeping at night on the bus.
Yeah.
Because if the driver is driving a bit fast and starts to sway a bit, I immediately assume he's fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, we spend so much time of our lives in these things, and we have to trust that we're going to get there from A to B.
Trust into
Yeah, I feel like every night before you sleep on those buses, you do kind of think, whatever happens, happens. You have to just put trust in it. It's scary stuff.
But I remember the front of the bus coming clean off and just like that on the floor.
What?
It was crazy.
Up, wasn't it?
And like the wheel was pushed, like I'm surprised the driver had legs as well, because the wheel was pushed so close to his seat that I think he just about made it out as well. So yeah, it was
me. Right, well, long live the successful bus journeys evermore.
You know what?
You've
Since
had
then,
the year, and now it's done.
I've never had a wheel fall off or anything like that. Drunk driver.
Basically, since I left.
Yeah, it was you.
It was you all
Everything's
along.
been fine.
So on a slightly lighter note, some of our favourite tour stories and memories have been on days off. Travel days stuck in the middle of nowhere. And from doing these podcasts, we're starting to get a list together of places that people recommend and where to go. So Woody from Bastille recommended a banana museum, which is, as you can imagine,
so
a museum
niche.
dedicated to bananas.
Where is that?
It's in
Joshua Tree.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So do you have anything to add to the list?
Do you know what? Like, I'm quite envious that you have Josh in your band now, because you were always the guy that was like, right, what are we doing on our days off? So to be fair, one of my highlights that I remember was Laser Quest, because we were like in the middle of nowhere. There was like really not much to do, and we were like, all right, let's just go and do a Laser Quest. And we were a bit drunk, which always adds to the fun.
Yeah.
And I just never realized how much I enjoyed playing Laser Quest. But my heart literally comes out of my mouth when I don't
It's
think
so
it's
scary.
so scary.
I've not been in so long.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go.
We should.
The last time I went, somebody pistol whipped me, and I'm not even joking. Someone genuinely.
What's that? Is that when
That's
someone
hits you with the
with
gun?
the gun?
And I
I didn't know that had a
genuinely.
name.
Oh, I've never
I
had
got
that.
pistol whipped at Laser Quest.
Why is that making me laugh?
I didn't know where you were going with that when you said piss. I was
Yeah,
like,
well, could have gone anywhere.
because they were a
but-
bit grotty as well. So I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Is this like, were you an adult at this point, or were you
No,
young?
I don't think so. I think I was probably about 15. So if you're listening, I'm coming after you. She snuck up behind me and hit me in the head.
Oh, so I can't think of that many days off, because I'm usually being really good and like hiding from everyone, so I'm not encouraged to shout.
Well, yeah, Laser Quest must bring you. You
Yeah.
can't. You're gonna lose
Exactly.
your voice in there.
No, exactly. And like I'm trying to be really well behaved on tour. So like usually I'd be like, leave me alone, finding a spa. But yeah, no, I remember particularly on the American tour, we were always going off and doing fun things. I remember going to Walmart and buying just a load of crap from Walmart and it just featuring for the rest of the trip. I remember we bought some cars and we were like driving around.
Didn't buy like didn't he get a, what's it called where you zap people?
Oh, taser.
Taser, yeah.
I don't remember. I feel like he kept that
Take
from
that
me.
to Laser Quest.
Taser
We
Quest.
can edit that out as well.
So, welcome to the beef section.
Oh no.
So, this is the section where feel free to talk about any beef you may have had with anybody.
Dish the dirt.
Disclose any information you want. Withhold any information you want.
You can say the beef, like, it was mainly
You
Twitter
say.
beef. Twitter beef is
Twitter
the fun.
beef's a good one. It's a
Yeah.
reoccurring theme.
Or you can tell the story, you don't necessarily need to tell the person, or you can just
I've
pass
been
it.
relatively good with beef, I think. I think my biggest beef was with one of my old tour managers. And that was that was something.
Oh, yeah.
It was quite an we had him for quite a while, and there was a lot of unprofessionalism. There was PDs being confiscated if you were late.
You're
and like we were at
joking.
school.
He still owes me about 45
Yeah,
quid.
yeah, and you know, like points being used and like festival tickets being given out. I remember there was this one time where we were at a different festival and we were about to go on stage, and he was on the phone trying to sort out his mates getting into a different festival, but using my sort of name to do that. And it was just like, you're on the job right now, bro. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Do you know what? I remember the greatest story. Do you remember when we did like Alan Carr's Chatty Man?
Yeah.
And didn't he go up to Lionel Richie?
Yeah.
like whilst you were with him, and he
Yes.
went up to Lionel Richie and asked for like Lionel Richie's autograph
And
with a
called him
CD that he
Lionel-
brought with him.
Yeah, but called him Lionel Rich T as well, like which everyone knows is just like such a
Really?
basic
Yeah.
joke, and it was just so embarrassing that someone that was representing me is like presented himself as a fanboy in a
Oh,
way that
dear.
was just like not cool. And like someone as cool as that was like, just leave me alone, bro. But he was very unkind to some of the crew, and like I think I was blinded to that for a long time. And then when I started to see it, it was horrific, and we were already stuck in America. So, but I remember the last thing was when we came back from America, and he didn't check anyone into their flights, didn't care if anyone got onto the flight.
Oh yeah,
Oh, and Ibiza, oh, there's so
Ibiza
many.
as well.
What, because he knew he was going to get fired?
Yeah, he
Or-
knew, like we'd already given him notice.
He'd got his Lionel Richie autograph. That's all he wanted. He was out the door.
Yeah, got all his tickets as well. But yeah, and Ibiza was crazy as well.
Yeah.
I got accosted by his girlfriend at the time, which was
And then he didn't book me on the flight home. So
no,
I
we didn't check you
he
in.
didn't
So when
check
we
me
got to
in.
the airport, they were
Yeah.
like, "We've given your seat away."
What?
Yeah, and then half of us got to fly back, and you
It's
didn't.
like me, Rachel Rafferty, the hairstylist, and Pete Middleton. Shout out if
Mm.
you're listening, Pete. We got there and they were like, it was like August time, and they were like, oh, when's the next flight? And because it was like peak
Yeah.
season Ibiza, they were like, oh yeah, the next flight's the 2nd of September.
Yeah.
We're like what?
Stay in Ibiza.
So, like-
Because it was EasyJet. If people don't check in, they assume you're drunk and not coming.
But I ended up flying. I think I went straight to Leeds. Actually, I think I
Yeah.
directed straight. I think it worked out quite well for me.
I think your niece had just been born.
My nephew, yeah, that
nephew,
literally that
that was
day,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
that was good. That's good and warranted beef. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tricky.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like I'm now going to have a hit out on me if he ever listens to this podcast.
this is more lighthearted. So, well, yeah, what's the best advice that you've been given? And if you could relay that piece of advice to an up-and-coming artist or musician, what would it be? Think about what you would give the 13-year-old Ella.
Don't take your voice for granted. Like, get a really good singing teacher who will knock you into shape and really scare the hell out of you from an early age, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in the fun, the parties and the late nights and the events, and like, but also like if you're on tour constantly, that is your asset. So I started my live career with Rudimental, and at that time they were all very young, very fun, and we had some great times, but then I lost my voice so regularly and didn't look after it.
Yeah.
So now I'm very, very, very particular about it. So I'm super boring on tour, unfortunately.
It's so common, isn't it? The singers losing their voice now. I mean, the extent of touring schedules and like how
Yeah.
much you have to go through.
Yeah.
To really nurture it.
I think also it's the thing of like, obviously managements and TMs and stuff, they will never understand
Yeah.
the vocal capacity, because it's not really it is their job to, but how are they supposed to know? And so they'll be like putting gigs day after day after day, and it's like, you need to be in charge of being like knowing your limits and just not pushing yourself too hard. Don't say yes to everything.
Yeah.
It's only if it's paying well.
Do you have any touring hacks or top tips?
Top tips.
I guess the previous answer was a good top tip to look after yourself and to look after your voice.
I mean,
Great top tip.
I love a steam room. So like, when I'm on tour, I like to seek out a steam room. It used to be gyms for us. Not you, Josh. You never came to the gym.
Yeah, no, I used to go for runs.
Yeah, runs. You were never a
more
gym boy. But yeah, for me, like, because I love a steam room, it doubles up as really good for my voice. And also, usually there's a spa attached to it. And like, I feel like when you're on the road constantly and you're knackered, it's just something to really look out for and keep an eye out, because it's just a really nice way to reset and spend a day off.
Something we don't really do. I think we should start doing though.
Spa days.
Spa days
Yeah.
on tour. It's just necessary.
Even if you don't get a massage, just go like for a swim, for a steam, for a sauna.
I thought we've been in a spa before, and I thought you hated it.
Yeah, I think I got too hot. So I went through a phase of, if I went to a steam room or a sauna, get too hot, can't handle it, can't cool down, get itchy, end up with a rash. But I think I've mastered it now.
Okay.
I love spas. That's
Yeah.
I'm into it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of massages now, so I'm a changed man.
So my other tip
Top tip.
was, so sometimes it can be quite hard to find somewhere good to eat. And like, you can't go off Google reviews alone. You know, like if you see 4.6, but in Somerset, that really doesn't mean very much. So like, my hot tip is to always look at pictures of the food.
Okay.
Yeah. Picture menus.
Yeah, picture menu. Like, but even just on Google, don't look at the number, don't look at the stars, don't read the reviews because people don't know what they're talking about. Just look at the pictures and decide whether you put that in your mouth or not. That's how
on the
you
pictures.
eat well on tour.
That's the top tip.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a good top tip.
So when I go for a roast, I do this every time, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, but when I go for a roast and I don't know what meat I want, I go onto their Google page and look at the previous roast, and I'm like, oh, that chicken looks dry, that beef looks crap.
Overcooked.
Yeah, exactly. The potatoes, what are they?
There are so many elements to a roast. That's a good thing to do.
Exactly.
It's not like you're getting fish and chips as two elements.
Yeah.
You've got so many different components.
And you
that
can
make up that
instantly
meal.
tell if gravy is granules
Yeah.
or not. So then I'll just go for the fish and chips, you know?
Yeah.
Can't,
So
can't.
that is a good top tip.
Yeah, I think so too.
Full of them. So the last question is, what is the craziest thing a fan has given you?
Oh, there's so many. But
Feel
I wouldn't
free to
say,
list them.
I wouldn't say crazy.
We can
because-
switch to the head.
creepy,
Oh,
or
no, I can
weird.
think of the crazy because it was so random. But there's a few that are good. Go on, you're laughing.
No, I feel like this section should include like a video element.
Yeah.
Because just the reaction from people's
Yeah.
faces are just the brilliant
Yeah,
because they
it's
go
so
straight to the one that they can't mention.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I don't have any I can't mention.
Okay, that's good.
I remember once getting a package from, like, you know, when it comes from a country that you have probably never been to and it's got loads of stamps on it and whatever. I remember this really undisclosed package arrived into my management's office, and it was a handbag that was a teapot. And I just don't know. I don't know
Wow.
where that came from. Like, I've always
Like
been
porcelain,
quite-
like actual.
No. It was like a leather teapot handbag. But like, if I was really into tea, or like I'd specifically made my love of tea known, that would make sense. I have no idea.
Do you know
what
who sent
country
it?
No, I don't know who sent it. What country it came from. I'm sure there was a letter, and at the time I knew. But I think I also remember being like, oh, I've never seen that fan on my Twitter or anything like that. So I was just like, so sweet, so niche, but why?
Do you still have it?
No.
Well, if you're listening right now and you were the person that sent that
Make yourself
teapot,
known, please.
make yourself known.
But my fans have always been really good at gifts. I'm going to say one more that I've loved and I will remember for the rest of my life. I have two cats called Frank and Eddie, and one of my cats looks a bit special. I mean, they both look special, but one of them in particular, because his tongue is too long for his mouth, so it's constantly out.
Oh.
And so somebody had found these toy plush cats that look like my cats and sewn a tongue to one of them, and then got collars made and said Frank and Eddie. And it's just such a thoughtful gift to be like, here you are, when you're on tour and like you get little memories of home.
Yeah.
It's just so nice. And like, you know, when fans do books and they get all the other fans to write in them and
Yeah.
whatever, like I've had some really good stuff over the years. And I actually do have a lockup full of stuff that I'll look at one day.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was the end of that round. We got one more round.
Right.
This is the quick fire round.
Right.
And basically, it's
not good at these.
it's the first thing that comes to your head.
Oh,
You can
no.
elaborate, or you can literally just say one word, and then we can move on. That's
Okay.
fine. So we'll start off the first one. When I say waiting all night, you say.
Brit Awards,
It's good. When I say Brit School,
musical theatre. That's what I studied. And we'll probably never learn use any of that knowledge. No, actually, no, I'd say I do. But yeah, Brit School, musical theatre.
Okay.
When I say home DIY,
Never ending is the word I use, because I'm just classic case of I start something and I never finish it. Like, I ripped the whole downstairs of my house out last year and it's still ongoing.
Okay. The next one. Your longest serving band member, Dave Baker. First word.
Oh no, I can't say what I was going to say.
He will listen to this.
Neurotic about in-ears is what comes to mind. He
Yeah.
is so particular.
A little bit more low end, a little bit more mids.
Yeah, I think any in-ears monitor guy I've ever had has always left the gig because of Baker. Because if Baker's not happy, the gig's not happening.
next up, Frank and Eddie.
Kidnapped, because my mum won't give him back.
Oh, okay.
It was
I
actually
got worried then. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, up and down.
it was when I went on tour might have been with the script. That was the longest I was away for. So that was the longest my mum had the cats for. And I just could not convince her to give him back after that. She was like, you have a man, I'm single, and I don't need a man, I've just got my cats. And I couldn't argue with that, really. And then I got a dog, which is so much more maintenance than cats. I should have just got another cat, but can't replace my Frank.
Well, that leads up into the last question, number 6.
When I say Iggy, you say...
Vet bills.
Yeah.
Oh my word, French Bulldogs are amazing. Love him to pieces, such a character. Also massively antisocial unless you're in the circle of trust. But like vet bills, man.
I was kind of hoping that you'd bring him along today.
I wasn't sure if I'd be able to in the hotel.
I guess, yeah.
And like I said, he's got a harness that says do not pet. So like, it wouldn't be fun for you.
Oh, okay,
It'd be fun for me. It wouldn't be fun for you. He's a sweetheart. He's just super nervous. I think he had a traumatic experience at the vet. Thanks, guys. And so now he just won't let, unless he knows you. Once he gets to know you, he's fine. But he just won't let anyone new touch him. So just there's a warning on him. Because one thing I've learned about having a dog is that people don't care if you say don't touch the dog, he'll bite you.
They'll just do it.
They'll just do it. I'm good with dogs. Okay. Well, if you're good with dogs, fuck off then.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
I had a dog like go for me the other day.
Really?
It was like fully like running at me, and I was like, oh.
It's my job.
And then it literally just didn't stop, and then fully charged me, like
fast
just
as well.
Went like fully jumped at me, like, and I was like, I had to steady myself, but I was like, I actually had to go at the owner because I was like, if I was like an old lady,
or a kid,
yeah, I would be on the floor because he did not slow down, and he did have a muzzle on, so maybe he just escaped. I don't know, but the owner was there.
That's so weird.
Yeah, scary.
Luckily with Iggy, if you leave him alone, he really doesn't care about you. It's just if you put your hand out, he's like, what the fuck am I going to do with that? What are you giving me that for? Because you know how people like put them in front of their nose, like, oh no, I'm really good with dogs, and he's looking at you like, fuck off.
Sounds like a character.
He is a character. He's brilliant. I should probably post on his Instagram more because he's far more funny than I am, but can't be bothered.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks for having
today.
me.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to see you and to reminisce on
it
some
really
old
is nice.
stories.
Heard some good stories.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, or any people you want to shout out, or before we round things up?
Shout out OG band members since we're here.
Okay.
Because they'll probably listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my mum because she'll listen.
Shout out Terry.
Shout out Tez.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
A huge thanks to Ella for being part of the podcast, and to the Hilton in Islington for putting up with us.
Shout out the Henry the Hoover. Also, we couldn't do this podcast without you guys listening, so a huge thanks to you for being part of the Floors family.
If you do like what you hear and you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment and subscribe. It really does make so much difference for us, especially now as we're starting out.
Join us next time where we will be chatting to Dan from the Wombats. Expect stories of how to survive terrible reviews whilst touring the east coast of Norway, the adventures of their trusty travel companion Steve the Squirrel, and what happens when you bring magical gummy bears on tour. Only on...